Christ 17 TV. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out here. Single mothers, mothers that got their husband, their boyfriend, whatever the case may be. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. See what I got on? I got on the hat. Is it the throwback hat? Oh, buddy. Jumping in the time machine. Christ 17's Great Adventures. We're going to go back to the 90s, okay? And it was really a different life back then. Not too many cameras, no phones, just a lot of violence, especially the place that I lived in New York, uptown on 213th. There was a lot of shootings and a lot of people getting killed. And I used to go to my grandmother's every summer. And this particular summer saved my life. Okay. Thanks to my mother. Happy Mother's Day. To shout out to you, Ma. My grandma wanted to send me later than when I left. And at that time, the street that I lived on was going through a drug war, and they were killing each other, and motherfuckers was getting killed. So my mother was trying to really get me out of there, right? And it was about a week difference than what, that my mom was trying to get me to go earlier. And my grandma said if I leave this day, it'll save a few dollars. And my mom insisted that she gets me in June instead of maybe the first week of July. So I go and I leave at like 6 in the morning, and I used to hang out on the corners all the time. I used to be doing my own thing. I was bad. We used to smoke weed. We used to, hustle a little bit, but I was only 16, and my friends were the same age, or some were 15, some were 13. It all depends on that day, on who was outside. So the first day that I land, one of my friends that I hung out with got shot in his neck because he was standing on the corner, and he was only 15, but he was hustling. So he was actually, from what I heard, somebody who was standing next to him, he was tying his shoe, and somebody walked up and shot him right in the neck. And they thought they killed him because they thought they shot him in his head. And he was only 15 years old. And a friend of mine called me and told me that. So, I thought then, like, man, did I just make it out of there in the nick of time? Because 9 times out of 10, I probably would have been standing right there with him, probably smoking some weed, bullshitting, or just doing the shit that we did young. Slap boxing, doing whatever that we did as young kids, trying to have fun. Because back then, at that age, kids our age were broke, and, we looked up to the older kids selling drugs, had nice clothes, had bitches, buying a lot of weed, buying new shoes, chains, all kind of shit. We was actually fantasized with that life. I will say that. Because coming from what I came from and not having shit, I looked at that as the way out at a young age. So there was this time that my mother was coming home from work. And I'll say this. When she came up the block, the whole block was taped off. She had to go around this different way to get to the house. They had cops everywhere, all over the damn place. And it was one of my friends who I knew, which, I got a story to tell about him. He's no longer here, so I could probably tell it, but I'm not sure if it's true or not, but still. She walked by and she seen him, and he was dead. He had got shot in the face about 20 times. And he was laid in the street in broad daylight. He was dead. So I get a phone call from my mom, And there's nothing crazier at the age of 16 than your mother calling you from another state and telling you she just seen one of your friends' dead body on the ground. Now, at that time, I've known people who've been killed. I've seen people who were dead on the floor when I was a kid. So I took it not as hard as most kids would take it. Let me just put it like that. Growing up in the Bronx, you learn to have thick skin. And you see so much shit, you get immune to it. Like, you get numb to it. So when my mom told me, she was crying. Like, I just seen him, that he was dead, and she called me, and yeah, he was dead, but I knew the shit he was into, so he probably got into some shit, and people came for him, because that's what he was. He was in the streets, and he was really out there doing shit, you know what I'm saying? He was shooting shit up, allegedly, and doing all kind of shit, hustling, and people didn't like him, you know what I'm saying? So, at that point, my mother called me and told me that one of my friends died. And it was nuts, you know what I'm saying? But he was an older guy, so I knew the type of shit he was into. But then, a week later, or maybe 10 days, the closest kid who I was friends with, named Tyson, he was murdered. So, we're talking about in about a 10-day span of me leaving, this is already 3 people and the person he was with, who I also knew, were killed, but Tony lived. So that's 4 people shot in 10 days, 3 dead, and 1, I don't know, never heard from him, seen from him, nobody seen him again. I think his dad took him and got him the fuck out of there, because it started to be a war zone. So, my friend Tyson, what I heard is he had got shot twice in the back after the person he was walking with was on a bike, and they shot him twice in his head, and he died. So I guess they shot him in the head, and then my friend tried to run, and then when he ran, they shot him twice in his back. And I hung out with all these kids. You know what I'm saying? We smoked weed, we bullshitted, we talked to bitches, we did all the shit young kids do. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, them days were so crazy, and it's crazy to think that these days are even crazier now. And it's like, when do we put down the guns, stop the violence, and let the kids have the summer back? Because that was in the summer. And the summers up there were crazy. Bodies were dropping left and right and left. And when you lose friends back to back to back to back like that in a matter of days, you start getting numb to seeing death. But I'll never forget the call when my mother called me and told me that one of my friends was laying on the ground and he had 20 bullet hole wounds to his face. You couldn't even see his face no more. Just blood. It was like nothing. And that's, it's a sad thing, but it's true. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I'm lucky, and I got to thank my mother for even being alive now, because 9 times out of 10, I would have been with all them kids who got shot. And who say I wouldn't have tried to run too and got killed. You know what I'm saying? So this life is, this life is nuts. You gotta take every day for what it's worth and be grateful every day you wake up, because my friends never woke up after that day. You know what I'm saying? And the cold part is, these is young kids. One was 15, the other was 16, the other was 17. And the oldest one, I think, was maybe 20. These is kids, man. These kids got mothers, grandmothers, aunties, you know what I'm saying? But we in the streets trying to get money, to get new clothes, jewelry, to fuck bitches. But every day you're risking your life because there's somebody else who wants your spot. somebody else who wants a problem, somebody else waking up with nothing to fucking lose and don't mind coming and trying to kill you or rob you or take your shit or maybe rob you and kill you. That's the life that's going on these days. Just think of all this drill music. Everybody's an op and they so disrespectful. They might kill you and then talk about you in a song talking about this smoking on you. Now, if that's not the most disrespectful shit to the family, to the mothers, to the kids of the folks that died, if they had kids, but I'm pretty sure some of them did. You know what I'm saying? You got to grow up hearing that shit. But you know, I just had to talk about this because I never forget my mom calling me crying and telling me that one of my friends died and she had to walk past it, around it, because he was there dead, just to get in our building to go home. And guess what? A month and a half after that, my mom left almost all the furniture there, took her little cash, and got on the plane and went back to California. Not for long though, she moved back. But the point was, it was getting so crazy that even after she left, more people I knew was killed over there. And when I say more people, I'm not talking about 1 or 2. I'm talking about 6 or 7. I'm talking about maybe 6, 7 more people I knew was murdered in that neighborhood. And just think if I would have stayed 7 more days for my grandma to save maybe $50 or $60, I probably wouldn't be making this video right now. I probably wouldn't have a son. My mom, who knows what would have happened to her without me being there to help her through her tough times. You know, so this is just something to think about. You know, you get older, you mature, you reflect back on the past. You're like, what the fuck was I doing then? You know what I'm saying? So now it's just a time now. Try to save the youth. Preach to them a little bit. You know, go to school. Get a job. The streets don't love you. Streets do not love you at all. There's no love in the streets. There's no code. There's no loyalty. There's none of that. So my main advice now for you young kids who think, yeah, I want to go pick up a gun and do a drill because you're hearing these guys talk about it in a song. Now, what's happened to most of these rappers now? They're getting killed, right? And robbed because, you know, the energy you put out is the energy you get back. And in life, you got to be humble, my man. Everything ain't what it seems, and that's a fact. And slow motion is better than no motion at all, meaning you could be dead or you could be in jail. So whatever your life is, it could be a lot worse. And, you know, I just wanted to kick a few words on this day because today is Mother's Day. And I was thinking about, damn, I remember my mom called me on the phone while I'm in California. She's in the Bronx in a war zone telling me that my friend had got killed. Not just killed, the boy got shot 20-something times in his face. Did he deserve it? I don't know. I don't know what he did. But guess what? Somebody felt that they had to come and give it to him to make sure he's not here no more. So he probably did something really, really foul. You know what I'm saying? That's how the streets is. There's no love and there's no turning back. Once that you get too far deep in this shit, it's too far to crawl out of that hole, man. So this Christ 17, man, just giving y'all a little message, little throwback story. And man, talk to these kids, man. Let our kids have a future. I wish my friends could have grew up to see more than 16, 17 years old, and I wish I could have seen their kids grow, meet their kids, and we could have grew together. But running the streets, you see the graveyard or the prison yard. There's only a very small few to get out in time before something seriously happens to them. In the streets, by your friends might get jealous and smoke your ass over what they now call as the bag. Your bag might be bigger than they bag, and they might want your bag to add it with their bag, and guess what? Now you got a toe tag. It's just how it is, man. This Christ 17 TV. So happy Mother's Day. You have a blessed day and stay safe, man. And like and subscribe to my channel. Share my videos. And like I said, stay safe. Happy Mother's Day to all those who have their mothers and all those who don't have theirs. God bless.